Hi everyone, this is Ophelia, and today we are going to discuss the topic choices. This topic was given to me by one of my followers on Facebook, cupidandI.com's motivational blogs and poem, and I am obligated to fulfill this request. So, choices. With choices, there is the act of choosing. That's what choices is defined as. It's the act of choosing. And with choices, there is often more than one from which to choose. And chances. With the chances you do something oftentimes by accident. There is no intent on your part. So by accident, without intending or without really being sure of what the outcome is. And my follower wanted me to differentiate between the two, choices and chances. Let's say with choices, you applied for a job, 2 jobs, and both employers responded. They called you in for an interview. You had the interview, and after the interviews, both employers decided they were offering you the job. So you are now faced with whether or not you will choose one versus the other. So you have a choice. With chances, you're taking a risk. For example, you are in love with someone, you heard that they are going to marry. You decide to crash the wedding because you're thinking to yourself that you love the person, and you're thinking that the person loves you, and there is a chance that they might come back to you if you crash the wedding. So you decide to go to the church, and you decide to, before they say I do and kiss, you decide to stand up to say why those 2 persons should not marry. So you are taking a chance that that person will leave the groom or the bridegroom and come to you. The next question. Would you say choices are positive, or they can be negative, or can they be positive or negative? The thing is, in life, you make decisions based on the information that you're given. And sometimes, even the best of us, we might not necessarily choose what's really best for us. Because sometimes we ourselves are confused, and we might think that we want one thing versus another. For instance, and most of the time, the choices can end up in negative or a positive light based on the extent, the significance of that choice. For instance, if you decide to buy milk, there is not much, consequences. Not much consequence as a result of buying one milk versus another, unless you're allergic to the milk. But if there's no allergy, then you buy one milk versus another, there's no consequence. So that choice, well, it's not negative or positive. But in another instance, you decide that you're going to go abroad to work. You leave your family at home, and you go out, you venture out. You accept a job offer and you leave. And when you leave, then you're over there, your family is behind, and you're hearing that your husband or your wife is having a relationship. So in other words, it's like other people come into play when you make choices. Choices are not just based on you, but other people are involved, and depends on what choice you make. Negative things might come out of it, positives might come out of it. At the end of the day, I say that even if you made a choice that was not the best choice, there is always an opportunity to learn. Unfortunately, sometimes we make choices that affect the lives of others. For instance, if someone decides that they're going to kill another person, one person lost their life, you cannot bring them back. That's a negative choice that you made. But you, the person who killed that person, you have an opportunity to look back at what you did, and as much as you cannot bring back that person alive, but you have a remorse, and you look back at what you did and you change your life so that you don't go down that path of destruction. So it all depends on how you look at choices. But I say that no matter what decisions you make, what choices you make, in the end, the whole idea is to learn from it. The next question was teaching children to make choices. And I'm one for giving children the opportunity to make choices, because from an early age, we give them choices. For instance, from if you're preparing a meal for them, you might know that they like one thing, like noodles. My daughter loves noodles, and then she likes macaroni. So sometimes I ask, I say, do you want macaroni or do you want noodles? Simple things like that. You give children the opportunity to make choices. And as they grow older, you give them more options. You give them more leeway to make certain choices based on their age. And this is important, because if you allow your children to make choices from an early age within their capability, you help them to grow into adults who are able to make their own decisions and not to depend on others to dictate to them what they should do or not do. So I say, let your children make choices. Sometimes with choices comes, you have to learn to step out of your comfort zone. It is a tendency for us sometimes to just want to take the easiest path with making choices. For instance, I can remember when I started Walden University. Before I started, I was given two options as to how I can do two of my prerequisite courses. And one of them was to just go to another island and do two of the prerequisites. It was English composition and humanities. And the other option, because it was cheaper to go to the other island and do them. And the other option was to start it with Walden University, but it was more expensive. Well, of course, I chose the easiest part, not just because of the expense, but because of the fact that it didn't take much commitment on my part. I didn't have to attend the classes. I could study when I wanted and just get ready for the exam. In the end, it really boiled down to the fact that I failed those exams very close, but I failed nevertheless, and I had to go back the other route that I refused in the first place and go with Walden University. Because of what? I made the wrong choice. I made a choice that I thought was best for me, but in the end it was not the best. I was choosing the path of least resistance, the path that was easiest. And sometimes with choices, the obvious choice sometimes is to just go with the easiest thing, but it's not always the best. And this is why we need to make informed decisions. Before we decide that we are going to do something, we're supposed to gather a little bit of information before we jump into it. And at the same time, we have to try to avoid paralysis by analysis, where we have too much information and we cannot make a choice. So today I urge you, whatever it is that you are thinking of doing, if you have a few options, just learn a little bit about each of the choices that you have to make, and pick the one that has is not the easiest one, but the one that has the best potential outcome. The one for me that had the best potential outcome was going with Walden University, but at the time I could not see it. But sometimes, even if you make a wrong choice, you still have the opportunity to remedy it, because I still had the opportunity to go back and start over with Walden University and was able to succeed the first time. So that's all for today. Have a great day and all the best in your endeavors. Remember to visit my website, cupidandI.com, the vibrant and dynamic woman, and to like my Facebook page, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and have a great day. And remember, positive energy always.